Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today's video is going to be featuring me talking because for what I want to do for this video, text just isn't going to cut it. My name's Jason, aka the Lieutenant Colonel. I'll be a tour guide here for today and this evening, and this is SG1 Card Games. Before we get started, I just want to give a really big thank you to everybody that has been joining this channel. It has been just absolutely insane how many people have been joining the channel and checking out the videos. I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Really appreciate it. Now, I know people enjoy the text video. They don't really enjoy the commentary ones that much, at least the people that have been joining. But there's no real way to explain how this works in just text. And I feel more comfortable talking about why I've chosen the things that I've chosen for this deck in particular. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Just so much thank you guys. I appreciate it. They've had so many kind words. This is technically a joint channel. My other friends do post things occasionally, but it is owned by me, and I do love to see growth on it. So yeah, let's get started. This is my Invoked Shaddoll Dogmas, and I have gotten a lot of requests on just talking about why I've chosen things the way I've chosen them. And I can tell you that straight off the bat, this is not the most meta optimal way to run them. It's just not. I think this is good enough for Master Duel. And I mean, if I was running in a tournament, I probably wouldn't run it this way. I'd probably make it a little bit more meta optimized. But this is my favorite way to run them, and the biggest thing I got asked was actually why I removed the gammas. And so I guess I'll start there. Now, for a long time, I ran gamma, and I'll bring him up. Ran gamma. Frame gamma. And the reason I ran him is because, for one, he was a light target, and two, he was a good negation. But for the last, like, 200 so duels, I think I only summoned him 5 or 6 times in 200 duels. And it's just because he just becomes useless after turn 1 for me. If it works great for you, that's great. And that's the beautiful thing about these, is you can really run them any way you want. This one just works a little more optimally for me, and gamma became too much. And then you always had the driver would come to your hand sometimes, and you'd be like, this is kind of a wasted spot. I'm gonna have no choice but to fuse this into something. Just became a big deal. So I did remove him, and in substitute I put in a Veiler, a Ariel, and a Schism. And I don't like Schism, but we'll get to Schism when we get there. So that's why I removed the gammas. And then I removed the Synchro monster, and I tossed in this one because I do like my targets. Now, another question that was brought up is that my extra deck is not full of too many meta staples. It's mostly in-house, Invoked, and Shaddoll. And I like running in-house, especially when a deck or archetype is capable of holding its own. In this case, it's technically 3 archetypes, but I think that's enough. I don't think I need things like access code talker in this deck. I don't need just look at some generic stuff. I don't need Zeus for sure. I don't need access code. Stuff like that doesn't really need to fill my deck. I don't need Utopia. I don't need Lightning or Utopia double or anything like that. So I want to keep this as in-house as it is. Now, this is just a target for ditching. We'll start with the extra deck, by the way. This is just a target for ditching. When it goes to the graveyard, you can blow something up. That's what you want to keep in. It's great to use with Servant. It's also great to use with Maximus. Just ditching it to the grave, blowing something up on the field. It's always fun. And then this Shaddoll, I'm not going to say its name because I don't want to butcher it, say it wrong, and then everybody yells at me. This one's also really great because it adds a Shaddoll card from your deck to your hand. So those are great targets for things like Servant and Maximus. So that's why those are in the decks. Now, the great thing about Invocation anyway, is that as long as Aleister is out there, I can use cards from either people's graveyards as material. And so I keep this one in because of that, and also because we do run one hollow. And then we also keep this one in because we do have water targets, and they may have water targets. You never freaking know, and he can be useful in certain times. This is for wind targets, but that one is going to be more towards like super poly because it's a Shaddoll and Aleister can't do much with it. But we also run this one as well in terms of water because this has actually been really good. I don't know why. Like in certain decks, I will summon this and nobody knows how to get over it. It's decks that use a lot of speller traps, things like that. So it's been a good insert. And of course we have our main ones like Winda. I run 2 of them. You do not need more than 2. I run 3 constructs. I run through constructs pretty quickly, especially to bait things out. And then 2 Makabas. And I only run them at 2 because I didn't have enough space for another one. So we're just going to keep him at 2. And then, of course, this is for an easy one. It's 1 level 4 lower spellcaster. You go Aleister into this. Easy, easy, easy. So that's really why I run this stuff in the extra. This also plus a dark monster, and you never know when you're going to need this. Because here's the thing. When there's an Eldlich in the grave, you can't chain Invocation to anything. So if they have no way to get the Eldlich out of the grave, yeah, you're going to want to eat that Eldlich and banish it. And Invocation does banish if you have a Aleister out on the field or in the grave. You can just get out of here, Eldlich, and summon this. Lost an Eldlich. I mean, he's not that great, but he is target bait for Eldlich, so it's really cool. And yeah, that's our extra deck, and that's why I've chosen things in this. Now, the main deck is where people like to yell at me. Now, the first video, I didn't have any schisms in, and I used to run 2 or 3 of these. I think it was 2. I don't like Schism personally. I'll start here with him, because every time I put a Schism on the field, it immediately gets blown up. They know what that is. They don't want any part of that. Half the time you search to find it, so you have to reveal it to them, and they know what that is. So I place it on the field and they deliberately blow it up. It doesn't ever get me anything. But I will say it does get me more than Gamma does. So I teched one back in, also so that people would stop yelling at me. I did tech one back in because people swear up and down this is a great card. And it is a good card. It's not like it's a bad one. It just, for me, I swear to God, I don't get to use it ever. I'd rather just have this, or even this than this. So that's just how it is. But I did tech one in, and it does come in use. Obviously, it is a good card. It's not like it's a bad one. We also run Impermanence, just 1. I thought about 2, but then I'd have to craft it, so I just didn't do it. Called by the Grave is our second strongest spell card in this deck. You should never play, I don't think, honestly, if there was a staple that I had to say needed to be in every deck, it'd be this one, and that's why it's limited to 2. It's just too strong. Eldlich removal, Drytron, Herald removal, it's too good. It's just way too good. Next is 1 Naelshaddoll Fusion. A lot of people don't run this. I don't know why. 1 is good enough. You have plenty of recycle as long as you can get it out of the deck and into the grave. You have plenty of recycle. Beautiful card. It absolutely shuts down Drytrons if you can use it correctly. So I'm really not sure why people don't run it. Basically what I would do is I'd put it on the field, maybe with a face down dragon or a Squamata. Hell, even if I had a construct out on the field, putting this face down is great. And then Drytrons, they'd special the level 1 Drytron. And when they do that, you can immediately flip this over because it's a quick play and fusion summon into Winda, who will prevent them from special summoning anymore. So they're locked. They can't do anymore. They can't. And Drytron doesn't come with a lot of blow up. It really doesn't. So unless they got like Droplet or Infinite already face down, mind you, then there's no way for Drytron to really stop a Winda in response to a special summon. So that right there buys you a turn. So yeah, no, it's a good card. I really don't know why people don't like it that much. But that's people are crazy. They just want fast things that are going to get them the win. And I feel like, especially with Shaddoll Invoke, that it has so much potential to be anything else. Like you can do so much with it. I don't see why people would want to limit themselves. Then we come to what I think is the #1 most effective card in this deck, Super Polymerization. And people will fight me to the death to say this card is bad, stop using it. I'm like, okay, listen here. Ultimate Herald can't chain to this. Can't chain to it. You can't chain. No one can chain to it. It is the last card in a chain. It is the last card in a chain towards Herald of Ultimateness or Eldlich, two of the most problematic decks in the entire game, and it cannot be chained to. Maybe for tournaments, if you were trying to rush, you're not going to top with these. It's just not going to happen. But maybe if you're trying to turbo rush in, yeah, you could leave them out and try to go for more of a lockdown. But these, to me, who has been running Super Polymerization since it came out in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, I have to say is the strongest card. You literally have something on the field. Let your opponent play their entire Drytron combo. The whole thing, all the way out to Herald. And when Herald hits that field, flip Super Polymerization to eat it with whatever you have on your field. Now, if you eat it, you summon a construct, okay? And Heralds, they always have they always manage with Eva, they get orange into their hand. So if you fuse it with a Wendi on your field, a Dragon on your field, a Squamata on your field, any of that stuff, their effects will activate at the same time Construct activates when she hits the field. And this is the great part, because Drytrons only run one. They only run a single Herald. It's either Perfection or Ultimate, and most of them choose Ultimate. They don't always choose Perfection, but they only run one, because if they ran any more than one, they'd brick, and they don't want to brick. So they run one because it's easily searched, and it's their win condition, right? So they get that thing on the field, and you can't do anything. Super Poly summons the construct, sends the we'll do Dragon in this case, Dragon to the graveyard. Now, because of the way chains and timing work, that Dragon went to the graveyard at the exact same time as that construct. So you get the choice to activate them in the order that you want priority. So you activate Construct first, and then you activate Dragon. They will have the trigger prompt to activate Orange because the condition was met, Construct was met. But that activation will not hit Construct if you chained it correctly. It will hit Dragon. And that's fine. You don't need Dragon. You can even target your own card. Like, honestly, target your own shit. They're probably going to negate it thinking that they're going to hit the Construct. It's not going to do it. Construct is then going to send Ariel to the grave. Banish the Herald with Ariel because of Super Polymerization. Can't do anything. They lost it. It's gone. Worst thing they can do is probably go into a Link monster at that point. And then what? Okay. Access code talker. Blows your shit up. You special some more shit to the field. You just summon a construct next turn. Summon something else next turn. Beat that access code down. I mean, it's like, I'd rather fight that than a Herald, a perfectly well stacked hand Herald. You know what I mean? So Super Poly to me is the best card in this deck, and no one can tell me otherwise. It is miraculous to use. You should always play these with your toggle on. If you don't have it on, you can find it in the settings. Keep it on and do chains correctly. People are dumb. They will not, like, most Drytron players play on autopilot. Not saying that you're dumb if you play Drytron. I'm just saying that most of them will play it on autopilot, and they're just going to throw that orange out thinking it's going to stop something. Who cares what it is? So that is a great card. Magical Meltdown. Obviously, you add Aleister's from your deck to your hand. I mean, it's not really useful for its other effect. It kind of is. I mean, opponent cannot. Your opponent's cards and effects cannot activate when a fusion monster is summoned this way. So it's a good card, but it's really just search Aleister. Nadir's Servant is like one of the greatest cards in existence, and it's no wonder it's at 1. You send one monster from your extra deck to the graveyard and then add a Dogmatika or a Fallen Albaz from your deck or graveyard to your hand as attack equal or less than it sent. So you activate this, you send Elder Entity, you blow something up on their field, and get Ecclesia for free. You summon her, get this one. Like, it's just too good. It's a good card. It's a great searcher. The only thing is you cannot special summon for the rest monsters for the rest, or for your extra deck for the rest of the turn. Which is fine because you usually want to activate these after you've already summoned your construct or your window or something. That's perfectly fine. Invocation is self-explanatory. You know, it fuses into... It can actually fuse Shaddoll monsters too. It's really not that specific. It just gains the extra effect if it's an invoked monster that it's summoning. So now we do run Pot of Desires. I run 2 of them because I feel like the deck's it needs a little bit of help to get you started. And I tried Max C for a while. It wasn't as viable as like a lot of people in the comments like to tell me, where's the Max C? Where's the Max C? I don't think it's that viable. And when you do run this, you run the risk of banishing anything you're running one of. Hollow, Maximus, this one. It's like, you do run that risk. But usually you have plenty of other options to do that can get you the game. So I think Desires is the better one. There's nothing in my extra deck I want to risk getting rid of. I mean, I'll go through a construct. I'll summon a construct to bait out a negate. They'll negate it, and then I'll quick fuse into another construct. And they'll have wasted their stuff. That's kind of what I like to do, is to have options to do the same play again to bait out other cards. Because by that point, I win. I have enough. I don't care if I've wasted that resource. The game is mine now. You've wasted your stuff. So that's kind of where my head's at in thinking. Shaddoll Fusion, of course, is great. Now, you can run this at 2. I have found success at 2. I like to keep it at 3. I just like having the option. But if you're going first, it's really not the card you want in your hand, so you can run it at 2 just fine. Easy to get it out of the deck with all the shit that searches. It really is. You can run this at 2 with a Hedgehog instead in its place. In fact, I may do some games showcasing that. Because Hedgehog's actually really good. I just don't keep him in. I've just teched him out. He's come in and out multiple times. Terraforming, of course, because Magical Meltdown is at 2. And this just makes it as if it was at 3. Feather Duster over Lightning Storm and Raigeki. I don't really have a problem with the monsters, especially when it comes to my turn. What I have a problem with is the back row stopping me. So I like to have something. You can also remove a fusion, a Shaddoll Fusion in place for a Lightning Storm, or you can just run Lightning Storm. That's fine. I have found that Lightning Storm in this deck produces the same problem that Gamma gives me, in which I just can't use it. So I'd rather have something I can instantly use. That's just me. That's one of my personal preferences. Now onto the monsters. I have teched in one Hollow. I ran him before, but I removed him in favor of Driver because Driver was easier to summon with this. But since I've removed him, I've put him back. It is nice to have a fire target, sure, for this Invoked, which is actually, he's a pretty strong card, especially if your opponent's got nothing but defense. It can win you the game. But more importantly than anything, this dude's a 2900 beat stick in both defense and attack. And he's easily summonable with Wendi. And it's kind of like, it's giving your opponent something else they have to work over. right? So they blow up something on your field, and then they need to blow something else up, so they waste a card or two to blow this up. Because this is a big beater. He's a big beat stick. It is nice to just have him. I've seen people that will just leave when you get summoned, because maybe they can take care of the construct, but they can't take care of that guy, so they just lose anyway. So it's nice to have him. I run one Maximus. A lot of people run multiple Maximus. I don't. I just don't like her that much. I mean, she's good. She sends 2 monsters with different names from your extract to the graveyard. That's great. And if I wasn't running Wendigo, this one, or this one, I'd be running 3 of these. And maybe another one of these. And then I could send more like that away. I just prefer to have options. Really, if I get Maximus out, by that point, it's either game over for them, or if they wipe my board, it's game over for me. So there's no point in doing that. I prefer to just have options. Now, you can run it that way. You can put 3 of these in there, always get a Shaddoll card from your deck. You can put 3 of these in there if you'd like. A lot of it also has to do with dust. I don't want to make another one of this, and I don't want to make I actually had 2 of these, and then I scrapped it into something else. But yeah, a lot of it has to do with dust. If you're low on dust, I prefer just doing this. Yeah. This is your big bad girl. She will just it's funny too, because most people blow this up, and the reason instead of this one, which needs to be blown up because it can't be destroyed by battle, and they'll destroy this one because every turn when a Dogmatika attacks, all Dogmatikas on the field gain 500 attack. It's permanent attack, free attack, all of them get it. So if you've got all 3 of them on the field, they all gain 500 attack. And that makes it really strong. She can also, if there's an extra deck monster on the field and another Dogmatika on the field, she will negate something on summon, and you can summon her on either turn. So it is a free negate from your hand. She's amazing. I don't recommend running more than 1. I tried her at 2, and it just wasn't as good. I don't know. Maybe in a pure Dogmatika deck, that'd be fine, running 2 to 3 of them. But in this deck, 1 is perfect. It's 1 negate. Anything more, you're probably not going to live anyway. And we got Shaddoll Beast. He's just good. Special summon him with Wendi or with another effect. Flip him, you draw 2 cards, you discard. If he gets blown up, you draw 1. He's just good. He's also a bigger beater. Of course, 3 of these because they search out the other 2, and they are free specials, and they cannot be destroyed by battle. Now, Ariel is where a lot of people, they get a little funky. I think 3 is too much. They are the most powerful monster. This is the most powerful monster in your deck, especially against heavy meta like Eldlich and Drytron. This is the most powerful monster in your deck. I don't recommend running 3. I think 3 is a little bricky. There becomes a point where you're just like, okay, I have these in my hand, but I can't even use their effects, so it's not really important. So I ran this at 1 for the longest time. And at that point, I didn't really know how to deal with Eldlich correctly. I kept destroying or negating back row instead of focusing on the fact that if I timed my combos right, I could just banish the Eldlich and I have nothing to worry about. So when I removed a Gamma, I teched in another one of these, and it has been working great. Sometimes I have them in my hand. I can throw them out on the field in face down defense, Naelshaddoll fusion into them, because especially against Eldlich, you have to understand, for the most part, apart from Scarlet Sanguine, they don't normal summon or special from the hand. They have to go to the graveyard first. So for the most part, they are in the graveyard. And if you activate it right, if you can get her into the graveyard at just the right time, just the right chain, she'll banish it, and there's nothing they can do. Fantastic. So yeah, Ariel is too strong. She banishes 3 cards from the graveyard. In Heralds, you banish they're always going to have 2 level 1 Drytrons in their grave. Banish them. And then Herald of Ultimateness, banish it. They're done. They got nothing. Can't help you. Can't stop you. They're done. So she's really good. Aleister, of course, is self-explanatory. You always want to open with Aleister. In fact, I don't think I very rarely don't open with Aleister. There's just so many ways to get him. And I mean, you've got draw, you've got search, you've got 3 of him. He's perfect to have. Dragon is fantastic simply because he destroys spell and trap cards on the field. He's good back row removal. And I stand by what I said earlier. This deck suffers from if it gets hit by back. It's got plenty of monster negation, plenty of monster stopping specials. Back row is its biggest problem. Dragon is just too good. I don't recommend 3. It's just not enough. You're never going to play this in attack mode. Very rarely going to play this in attack mode. Squamata is the same. He's 1800, but if he flips, he can destroy a monster on the field. And if he's sent from the graveyard, you can, add a Shaddoll. You can send one Shaddoll from your deck to the graveyard, which is really good. He's good for dropping fusions into the grave if you need to get him in there. Wendi is probably your second strongest card in this deck, because when she flips, she can special summon a monster from the deck, face up or face down. And if she's sent to the graveyard, you can also special summon a monster from your deck. So she's really strong, easy to special summon big beaters like Hollow, easy to special summon Beast if you're running low on draw, easy to summon a Dragon if you know you're going to be able to flip it to return something to the hand. Wendi is really good. You can run this at 3. I run it at 2 because I tried to make space for Valor, and I'm actually still debating Valor. So yeah, you're welcome to run that at 3. 2 Ash Blossom. I don't think 3 is needed. I actually don't own 3 on this account. I have 2 accounts, and I actually do not own 3 Valors, or 3 Ash Blossoms. In fact, no deck I have has 3 Ash Blossom in it, even on my other account that has 3 Ash Blossom. I just think 3 is too much. I always have them in my hand. I don't think there's a duel I don't have them in my hand. They come to my hand when I don't want them. They come to my hand when I do want them. It just is what it is. Obviously, I run 1 Valor. It's because he's a light target, which reminds me that Ash Blossom is also a fire target for this one. So you should be running at least one of these. But Valor is a light target, and it is a spellcaster that is under level 4. So now if you're running the access code variant, you want Valor in there, but you can probably just tech a 3rd Ash in there or a 3rd Wendi. Either way, that's fine. How long is this video? 27 minutes so far. Okay, so I think I've talked enough about why I play this and how I play this. This deck is very user-friendly. And I say that user-friendly meaning you can really pretty much do what you want to it and still have it perform decently and decently enough. Now, a lot of people like Schism. I don't think it's as great of a... I mean, it's a good card. I just don't think it's as great as people say it is. But also, I like Super Poly, and other people don't like it. So it's really... This is the kind of case where you can kind of tech in what you feel is going to work better. What you feel is going to run better, run right, run what works for you. And for me, this is what works so far. In the next replay video I do involving Invoked Shaddolls, it will probably be a little changed, a little different, and it's probably going to be a couple weeks before I post another one, because I'm working on a lot of other projects right now. But this is how I run it. If you want to know, I'll put the deck list in the video down below in writing, also a picture, and then some links to the 2 replay videos so you guys can kind of watch how it goes. And that's really what I wanted to do with those replay videos, was showcase the deck in action. So if you found it interesting, then I could make something like this where we just kind of talk about it for about 30 minutes and why I've chosen it. But yeah, let me know down below if you guys have different variants of this, if you think I'm crazy for running it this way, if you preferred a different way. I do love to see how everybody else runs it. I really do. I enjoy seeing deck variety, or variants. Variants of decks is what I enjoy seeing. So Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to go ahead and end it here because I got to really sneeze. In fact, I'm probably going to sneeze on camera. This is going to be... No? Wait. Good. Good. I'll probably bite me in the ass here in a little bit, but I'm good. You guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like. Please leave a like. That's the #1 biggest thing you can do for me. You can follow me over on Twitch, where we'll be playing some Master Duel and some other things that we'll be doing later in the weeks and stuff like that. And sub for some more things. I got a great couple of videos coming. I just posted a Trickstar burn video, which was great. Those Trickstars are so much fun, especially the burn variants. And I got a Utopia OTK coming out tomorrow or the next day. Don't hold my breath. And then Archfiend was nice enough to donate some Thunder Dragon replays, and he's got a pretty bitchin' deck, if I do say so myself. I'm looking forward to posting those replays as well. And I may do this for Phantom Nights too, this like little talking video, because I actually found it kind of fun to just sit here and talk about it for 30 minutes and why I've chosen it. So yeah, there's also a new Phantom Knight replay in the works somewhere as I plow my first account all the way back up to Plat 1. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. You are fantastic. The love and support this channel's gotten has been outstanding, and I enjoy it. My name's Jason, aka the Lieutenant Colonel. I've been your tour guide here for today and this evening. I will see you guys in the next one. Have fun with your Invoked Shaddoll Dogmas.